What's up, everybody? And today we're checking out reviewing the worst combat footage. This is by Cappy Army. It's been a while since I've checked out some Cappy Army, so I'm actually really excited for this. He's going to be watching what looks like footage out in Ukraine with Bradleys and stuff, which we've been watching a lot of. So it's going to be really, really interesting to watch this, and I'm actually really excited. If you have not already, there is a link down below to Cappy Army's video. Make sure you go over to the original video, give it a like, give it a subscribe, all that good stuff. Really, really important that you do that. With that being said, before we get started, a quick word from our sponsor. Why is no one talking about these hidden performance experiments connected to the military? Just hear what Tony Robbins has to say in this clip.
Check this out. Your sirtuins do two things. First, they turn on and off genes. Well, they also have a competing component, because they can only do so much, which is cleaning up your DNA. These sirtuins have a fuel that you've probably heard of called NAD. So NAD is wonderful, but NAD is a size molecule that, as you probably know, needs a precursor called NMN to actually get into the body. For 2 years, top secret, they have been working with our military, with our special forces. And about a month and a half ago in Boston, the commander got so excited, he slipped the beans. And it was just in the Daily Mail last week as well. He didn't tell all of it, and I know more because I've invested in the company, and I can't tell you the exact things, but I can tell you what's been reported. What's been reported is the commander said, these are the strongest humans alive, both men and women in the special forces, and most people, right? Endurance has exploded, he said, very much like the mice. He said, secondly, muscle development has completely changed from the same stimulus, like the same workout, they're getting more muscle. And then thirdly, the most important thing for them is cognition has gone through the roof, because when you're exhausted, and you're out there in special forces, the ability to use your head is more valuable than your body.
David Sinclair's team first tested this in mice. Just after 14 days of NMN, the mice ran 200 to 300 times faster than the youngest in that group. It's since been studied in human performance and military resilience programs with similar findings. So when Tony Robbins mentions it, it's not just hype. It's about restoring mitochondrial function, helping cells produce more energy efficiently. NAD levels are high when you're young, but when you get to the age of around 40, they drop by like 50%, contributing into lower energy and slower recovery. And as Gary Brecker often explains, the body doesn't use NAD directly. It relies on precursors like NMN. Restoring NAD isn't about looking younger. It's about slowing down the cellular decline that people accept as normal aging. So like lower energy, slower recovery, and your body not kind of being as switched on as it usually is. The NMN that I use is Black Forest NMN. It's GMO-free, made in the US, and includes Biperine, which equates to 30% better absorption. And the best part is Black Forest Supplements has their Memorial Day sale on right now, 50% off. The offer ends in 48 hours. Go over there right now. Link down below in the description. It's also in the comments. Use promo code ORIGINAL. Get yourself some NMN and go and check out all the other stuff because they are absolutely phenomenal. Thank you so much, Black Forest, for supporting the channel. All right, let's get straight into it. Let's pull this up. Let's turn on subbies and let's have a watch.
This recent Russian assault in Seversk starts with a car about to run the gauntlet of every weapon imaginable. They're trying to cross a 1,000-meter long kill zone. 4 Russian troops are packed into this old Soviet-era civilian car that's been refurbished with a coat of paint and camo net thrown on top. They're flooring it, speeding toward the Ukrainian trench line through a massive minefield. The Ukrainian soldiers from the K2 battalion have prepared for this by setting up interlocking fields of fire with their machine gun and RPG teams. The combat footage was recorded by the K2 battalion of the 54th Mechanized Brigade. A link to donate to them is in the description. The first thing that's...
We've not checked out that channel before, K2 Battalion, so we'll have to look into it. We've seen quite a few different Ukraine footage video channels, right? But we haven't seen that one.
Stands out to me here is that the Russian soldiers have surprisingly chosen to do this assault during daytime. This might seem like an unusual plan, but since they don't have access to night vision equipment, these soldiers are forced to make the exposed head-on assault during the most risky part of the day.
There's
because
some
of this,
mines
they're
there.
spotted by surveillance UAVs flying overhead almost immediately. But the reason they're doing this is so that they can safely navigate the minefield. You can see how the Russian car is weaving around, and that's because they're following in the already cleared path of the armored vehicle's treads from previous assaults. They know that following those treads is safe. These Russians are now crossing into the kill zone of machine guns and RPGs.
I mean, you say that, but it's not. It's not, because There's treads. There could be a mine in the middle. They could be off them treads a little bit. All it takes is a few inches left or right, and then boom, done. Dangerous.
Can they survive it? Before we dive into that, all the animations and 3D work in this video are sponsored by Aura. Aura helps you fight back against having your identity stolen, and it
I gotta pass through this, unfortunately.
soldiers appear to lean out the back of the vehicle as it's moving, and the soldier shoots a bunch of shots at the bomber drone that's tailing about 10 meters up in the air close behind the car. We can see the tracer rounds missing their target as small arms.
Let me know in the comments if you've shot tracer rounds before, because they are so cool. They are so cool. I've said it before, I'll say it again. One of my best moments when I was doing anti-piracy, when you, middle of the night, NVGs shooting tracer rounds in the ocean, and they bounce off the wall, skim off the water. It looks like some out of Star Wars. It's so cool.
Fire flies into the sky. The Russian storm unit is now well within small arms distance of the Ukrainian soldiers, and here is where a few rounds
Look at that
impact the
footage.
vehicle. You can see it slamming into the windshield in the front. We see more bullet hits and sparks and glass flying everywhere.
Wow.
Even without any armor on the car, the Russian occupants got lucky and none of the shots hit them, even as the bullets ping off the vehicle.
Yeah, the ones on the windscreen then, I'm very, very surprised no one got hit with that.
The rounds miraculously missed the driver, and the Russian troops continue into a small ravine.
Very
And according to
lucky.
the K2 unit, this footage was taken after months of daily direct assaults by tanks and armored MTLBs and BMPs. We see evidence of the burned out husks of armor that were able to get within about 100 meters of Ukrainian fighting positions in the trenches. But this is when Russians switched tactics to using these unarmored civilian vehicles. It's tough to see from the overhead angle, but they're reaching a depression in the terrain that puts them in this ravine that is out of direct line of sight of the Ukrainian small arms fire. A Ukrainian RPG fired from about 50 to 100 meters away hits to the right of the Russian car, just barely missing and sending up a huge explosion. But the round was
Sheesh.
likely an anti-armor version of the RPG.
When you look stuff like, when you watch this footage like this, you think it's staged because it's so clear. It's unbelievable, isn't it, that we've actually have this type of footage from a war zone.
Which doesn't send as much shrapnel everywhere. It shows that the weapons the Ukrainians prepared were for in preparation of an armored assault, not so much for a car assault. And in this instance, it's worked in the Russians' favor because an anti-personnel RPG would have done more damage. The Russian car marked 03 on the hood there looks like something out of an apocalyptic movie with its doors ripped off, rusty
does.
exterior, and the number just painted onto
It's
the
like a
hood.
movie
The
set.
Russian strategy here, using the civilian car, is an attempt to gain less attention compared to using armored vehicles that have an audio and visual signature that show up more from drone surveillance.
Not only that, obviously, it's a lot quicker as well. These small vehicles are much, much quicker. And so it's probably cheaper and easier for them. At the end of the day, it's not like they have access to a lot of equipment, is it? So they probably didn't even have any choice, to be honest with you.
And these converted civilian cars cost nothing to lose because they're reportedly taken from citizens in the occupied territory.
Wow.
The Ukrainian K2 battalion has the goal of dismantling this assault group before they're able to gain a foothold. The Russian
Imagine watching this footage and being like, that's my car. What? That's my car. Can you imagine? You've escaped Ukraine. You're living in like the UK or something. You're watching this footage and you're like, I recognize that. I recognize that little bit of a scrape on the side of the car. Shit, I think that's my car. Unbelievable.
car marked 03 reaches their drop-off point here right behind the burned out armored vehicle. From here, they're only about 50 meters away from Ukrainian positions
Oh
in
my
the trench line,
God.
according to the K2
They're
battalion.
so close.
The overhead Ukrainian UAV drops a grenade-sized munition now, and it lands directly in front of the vehicle with a huge explosion. The munition
Wow.
sends hundreds of small pieces of metal shrapnel flying out in this 360-degree arc, slamming into a Russian soldier. One of the 4 Russian soldiers has been killed, while the other 2 make their way to a position of cover. The first soldier,
I mean, this is a prime example of how untrained these soldiers are. We saw in a video the other day that they're getting like, what was it, 5 days of training? And then they're on standby for 5 days before they actually get sent out on the front line or something ridiculous like that. Like, there's not enough training. They don't know what they're doing. And so they end up just getting killed, unfortunately. And you can see it in these tactics. You can see that lack of training clear as day, can't you?
Who disembarked from the car, ran around that armored vehicle there. Instead of taking cover there, he continues pushing forward toward the trench. In this no man's gray zone land here, with no cover, he's shot at with small arms rounds.
Yeah, there you go.
Several machine gun rounds tear through the Russian soldier, and he's KIA instantly. The K2 battalion responsible for defending here is at a critical part of the front line near Severodvinsk in the Donetsk Oblast. And defending this location is critical because it's about protecting the northern shoulder of Ukraine's Donbass defense line and preventing Russia from cracking open a new operational axis here. After dropping off the Russian infantry here, the driver of the car marked 03 turns around and he quickly makes a U-turn and
You watch. I bet he hits a landmine or something. I bet as he turns around to escape, he hits like a landmine.
heads back to the pickup site to pick up more soldiers as a battle taxi. The single lone Russian soldier left behind at the APC is the only survivor of these
Lone soldier as well. So like he's being a God. It's heartbreaking to see how badly trained they are. I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, I am a Ukraine advocate here. But these people shouldn't be on the front line. They should not be on the front. They shouldn't be fighting. They should be at home doing whatever jobs they were doing prior to this, unless they were in jail, which they probably were, to be honest with you. But they shouldn't be fighting these individuals.
storm assault at this point. Small arms rounds ricochet all around him, and we see the dirt kick up from behind him from near misses. Then shots land on him, killing him after a few moments. The
There you
driver
go.
of the car marked 03 has made it out of the kill zone and has almost made it home free, back 1,000 meters back towards the final tree line out of the minefield. In this final stretch, after making it through all the bombs
It's gonna
and
hit
shots
something
in
in
the
there.
windshield, the driver connects with a landmine, blowing the vehicle up.
What did I say? I knew it was going to happen. The panic of escape, trying to get out there as quick as possible. You lose a little bit of focus. Boom, done. I knew it was going to
The
happen.
car, without any armor, is torn to pieces in the explosion from the landmine. But that's just the beginning of the assault, and what happens next blew my mind. The Russian commander then sends out another car, this one marked 02. A Ukrainian soldier fires an anti-tank
What?
RPG, misses the 02 car by just a few feet. It looks like a mine.
Did the windscreen pop out when that happened then?
Fires an anti-tank RPG,
Or is it just
misses
the-
the 02
Oh, I
car
think it's
by
just the
just a
glare.
few feet. It looks like a mine is detonated, but it doesn't destroy the car. It keeps barreling forward.
Oh my
The
God.
second assault storm group here is making faster progress, pushing straight through the kill zone and making it past the landmines. Here
I just want to say as well, like when you're doing training boots on the ground, there's actually a different part of training you've got to do for vehicle training. Like the way that you exit a vehicle, the way that you take cover with a vehicle, the way you maneuver the vehicle. These are all things that you have to train for. And if these lads are getting 5 to 7 days of training and that's it, they probably don't even know that there's vehicle tactics. Crazy, innit?
we get a good view of the trench line and the close proximity that the Russian car is to it. It's likely that from the vehicle's perspective, they can't see on the ground how close they are to the trench line, and they don't realize that they're right there. The strategy with minefields, when you're doing it by the book, by
so
the field
close.
manual, is for them to get more and more dense as they get closer and closer to that trench. And there's multiple UAVs dropping grenades, and further back from here, there are artillery positions. The Russian car
But they're in a position. Why are they getting the vehicle in a position where there is absolutely zero cover and they're literally, they're not even, they're so close. They're less than 100 feet. They're less than 20 feet away from the trench to the side where there's Ukrainians just picking them off. What are they expecting to do here? What's the plan of action? What are they being told to do? Because they're just getting ripped apart.
makes it to the low point in the ravine again that offers some cover from the small arms positions. But in between the two assaults, the Ukrainian infantry have moved through the trench line to now find better firing lines on the Russian reinforcements. The 4 Russian soldiers disembark from the car. The driver even gets out this time and makes his way over to the cover to take cover behind that same burned out armored vehicle.
Oh
A
my
repositioned
God.
Ukrainian RPG team lands a direct hit. The munition flies between them and hits the car marked 02, detonating the fuel tank, and the explosion eliminates 3 of the 4 soldiers.
Oh
The
my
remaining Russian
God.
soldier tries to take cover in the crater, but another RPG slams into him. This Russian assault was stopped, but the new tactic tactic here of using smaller cars and lighter vehicles was able to get them to within 50 meters of the trench.
Oh, so
and
it's
this
50
strategy
meters.
of
It looks way closer on video. Way closer. But even still, 50 meters is insanely close, isn't it?
head-on full frontal
If you are close enough that you know you can be accurate with a handgun, you're too close. You're too close, let's be honest.
motorcycle, horses, motorized assaults has been able to take over some Ukrainian trenches and has gained Russia territory over the past 2 years. In this direction, Russia has moved forward in the last year with these type of light motorized assaults, but we see it came at a steep cost. Head-on assaults are dangerous for whoever has that job, no matter who you are. Charging headfirst into the enemy defenses as a storm unit is the most dangerous assignment. You're looking at declassified combat footage here of a dense tree line packed with Russian defenders near a canal in Bakhmut. The platoon of 30 Russians are in fighting positions in numerous shelters here, various bunkers that make up the trench system in this wooded area.
God, the style at which this fighting is taking place is so reminiscent of World War II. The way that they're using the hedgerows and the tree lines between farming fields like this. I don't know whether it's because I grew up watching, combat footage in Afghan, and the majority of combat footage you see is in a desert scenario, isn't it? So when you see it like this in traditional farmlands, in hedgerows, it just seems, I don't know, it seems bizarre, doesn't it? It seems weird.
It makes up a kind of belt of shelters that run about 600 meters deep. A fire team of 4 Ukrainian soldiers are sent to dislodge the Russians with an M113 armored vehicle that has a 50 cal machine gun mounted on top. And we'll see a surprise asset joins them at the end of the battle to turn the tide. The tactic that they're using is dismounting about 100 meters from the line of contact. They move up on foot next to the armored vehicles while it lays down suppressing fire to keep the enemy's heads down. The Ukrainians counterintuitively
That's danger. That's so dangerous because they're out in full force, out in the open. So they're incredible, especially that guy that's on his own between what look like 3 people behind him and the armored vehicle. Like, you're putting yourself in such a vulnerable state there. All it takes is 1 round.
Are outnumbered here, even though they're assaulting forward. But their APC and explosive give them a slight advantage, or at least makes it more of an even fight. Be sure to check out the 3rd Assault Brigade's YouTube channel for the full footage here. The commander is
I think that's another one we should definitely check out on this channel.
named Kalsai and Farsh. I met these 3rd Assault Brigade guys when I reported from Ukraine, and I can confirm they're hardcore. Using the suppressing fire from the vehicle as cover, the commander fires a Matador shoulder-fired rocket-propelled grenade launcher at the enemy only 50 meters away. This was likely a high-explosive round, sending shrapnel everywhere. The fire team moves into the woods from here and begins their assault. They stay online, focusing on their field of fire directly in front of them, and they try not to get distracted too much by what's happening to their far limits to the left and right. They have to trust their buddies to cover those positions. It's important for infantry during an assault to not go into their buddies' line of fire, so they stay online while moving up. The Ukrainian commander Farsh calls his soldiers over so he can bring another anti-personnel shoulder-fired rocket. They communicate effectively and shout out the distance and direction of the enemy dugout. Farsh fires a rocket into it.
God, the vision there of looking through that tree line is shocking, isn't it? You gotta have really good clear line of sight when getting the rounds down, and it looks like in these particular scenarios, because they know the enemy's there, when they see movement they can go ahead and get the rounds down, but you're just not getting clear line of sight, are you? I mean, think about it, if you're watching this from the US and you do stuff like hunting or whatever, if you're looking at a deer, you want a clear line of sight of that deer. You want to 100% be able to ID what that is. In this scenario, they know enemies in that direction, so if they see movement, they just shoot. But that's scary. That is worrying, because obviously things can go wrong there. Plus, also, you could be wasting ammo, in truth, especially if you're using bigger rounds like this.
They lay down a suppressive fire as they move up, assaulting the objective. They've gained fire superiority, which is crucial.
They also, just as a quick caveat on that, they also might be able to see better than what we can see with this footage. It does look a little bit blurry, doesn't it?
This allows the team to push up and advance through the tree line, making slow progress just a few meters at a time. Fighting in a wooded field is dangerous because any one of those piles of leaves could be a dugout with Russian troops in it. Any one of those branch piles could have an AK-47 waiting in it, as we'll see now. Call sign Chef gets injured, and they begin applying first aid, and then they go straight back to firing. Their rounds are landing just 10 meters in front of them, showing how far away they're aiming, showing that the enemy is right there in close combat. Call sign Kutcher, Anubis, and Chef are there with Farsh, and the team brings up another launcher and fires it at the enemy position.
I mean, look how dense that is, and he's firing that launcher. If it just hits the wrong twig in a wrong manner, it could blow up right in front of him.
Moving up is impossible without constantly hitting with explosives. Even though these explosives are landing nearby their target, not directly on it, it may seem like they're completely missing and having no effect, but in reality, if you're standing just a few feet from one of these explosions, it's going to rock your bell. And
It's so true. That's gonna it give you a good concussion, even if it doesn't give you shrapnel wounds.
concussive pressure from it will make it difficult to return fire accurately or at all. This volume of fire allows them to assault forward and get within hand grenade range, and they land a grenade directly in the dugout to direct hit. They put more rounds into the dugout to be sure that it's neutralized, and they throw grenades in there. As they move to the next dugout, one of the Ukrainian soldiers is hit. They provide covering fire, while another soldier recovers the wounded.
I mean, look at the state of these trenches as well, though. They're just atrocious, aren't they? The living conditions.
Begins launching grenades at the mouth of the dugout. They take a break from the assault to loot the Russian gear from the other positions for weapons that might help them push forward from here. They find a PKM, grenades, an RPG, exactly what they need. Farsh radios to the vehicle that they recovered a bunch of weapons.
We've got a ton of loot here. I'm about to sort it out right now.
By now,
I love how they're calling it loot as well. Like, it just feels so Call of Duty-esque, doesn't it?
they only cleared the first two dugouts in a long row of more and more positions that extend in front of them. But
how long is that as well? Like half a mile? It's like half a mile, 3/4 of a mile, that whole stretch. What are the chances that the majority of them are going to get some sort of injury throughout that whole thing? It's pretty damn high, isn't it? The casualty rate is through the roof when it comes to clearing out trenches. Unless you've got unlimited, good quality explosives, you're going into some of these trenches with just rounds.
Have to continue pushing forward because the longer they wait here, the faster the Russians can organize a possible counterattack. The three remaining in the fire team call out, telling the Russians to surrender, but they continue to resist.
Surrender, damn it! We will exchange you for shit and that's it, damn it! Either you surrender or you're screwed!
He's an American guy.
You have nowhere to go, idiots!
You're hearing an automatic English dub here.
Oh, okay.
I left that in because most of our viewers speak English, and it's a little weird to hear it sometimes, but I think that it gives us a good idea of how they're communicating in combat and what's being said.
I was going to say, that dub sounded so weird, did it?
Behind only a tree as cover and facing a Russian PKM machine gun team, they're unable to push forward without help, so they call for reinforcements. That's when the APC, call sign Malesh, and a squad of 8 additional soldiers pull up.
I have 450 here. There are 2 more people with me. We tried to move forward, but there's a machine gunner and 2 more shooters. There are 3 of us. We can't. Waiting for reinforcements.
Now, we can see that the APZ is positioned to their left.
Yeah, at the end of the day, if that APZ moves up, what? 100 yards ahead of these individuals there, it's going to give these individuals a better chance of clearing these trenches because all these Russians are going to be looking at heavy armor. That's what they're going to do priority until the Ukrainians are literally on top of them.
And they can provide better fire support as they push up. The reason they didn't have the vehicle there alongside them from the beginning is because if they did, it would have exposed this valuable asset to enemy RPG fire, and it quickly could have destroyed their ride.
That's true, but if the vehicle just... This is what I would... I mean, I'm not out there. If this vehicle was just out a bit further, to be fair, this field could also be covered in mines. But in a real, let's say in a scenario where you could do this, if this vehicle was just out a bit further, and let's say like 20 yards ahead of the individuals here, as soon as it starts opening rounds just ahead here, and they pop up to start firing RPGs or something, the lads can take them out. they can take them out. But it's risky. They're playing a very, very risky game doing that, aren't they?
You can see the M113
And that's if that there isn't mines all over this field, which there probably is, to be honest with you.
has moved up to their left slightly ahead, about 25 meters in front, to
There
put
you go,
pressure
yeah.
from the side, while they
Yeah.
pound the position with RPGs.
So that's what
the
they're doing,
M113
exactly.
armored vehicle lays down automatic machine gun fire, while the drone overhead provides surveillance. The team continues their push, now able to gain fire superiority, and move up with the increased firepower. They take another casualty. One of the Ukrainian infantrymen is shot as he approaches the dugout.
Oh
They'll
my
need to
God.
act quickly from here and get their
That's what I mean. Like, there's a high amount of casualties in something like this.
He's back to the 113 for evacuation. The Russian soldiers are observed by overhead surveillance beginning to flee their positions. What they're doing is regrouping further back at another dugout. They are trying to consolidate in the middle of this shelter system.
That makes
The Russian
sense.
goal is to fall back to this more advantageous position with greater and greater numbers while attriting the Ukrainians along the way. The final dugout has 15 Russian soldiers in it, which means technically the Ukrainian soldiers do not have enough manpower to assault it. By the book, you're supposed to have a 3-on-1 advantage when you're assaulting, because it's much more difficult. Technically, they should have 45 soldiers, but they only have about 7. It appears that
Wow. If you've done CQB or any tactics like that, you know how horrible that ratio of individuals is. You need to have, obviously the information is key. I always talk about that is key. But you still need to have an advantage when it comes to the quantity of soldiers. It's really painful to hear that.
they're out of luck. Commander Farsh consolidates all of his troops for the final push, even though they don't have the manpower they need. They will have to adapt, improvise, and overcome in some other way.
Classic.
Farsh grabs the captured Russian PKM, starts laying down fire for the
It's interesting how they go in and start picking these weapons up straight away, because we get told, you know, if you see a weapon on the ground, be very, very cautious to approach it, because it might be, you know, it might have some sort of explosive underneath it to trick you. But at the end of the day, these Russians are probably not even trained enough to do stuff like that, are they? Let's be honest.
advance. One of the Ukrainian infantrymen recommends shouting at the Russians to give up. After the unit has lost 2 soldiers at this point, the commander replies that he doesn't need the enemy alive.
I don't need them alive.
The APC has moved into the woods now to better cover them. The 3rd Assault Brigade at this point takes a break inside one of the Russian dugouts. They use it as cover while they plan their final advance.
Yes.
Wow.
Everything is fine. We are working. You have ammunition? There is enough ammunition there for 2 wars.
They're short about
Wow.
30 soldiers to confidently assault this position.
These lads are hardcore, aren't they?
But this is where the buzzword force multiplier comes into action. You can make your infantry of 7 be more like 45 by adding a shock factor, a tank.
Yeah.
A Ukrainian main battle tank makes contact with them and arrives as reinforcement to help with the final dugout. But I didn't expect the tactic that they would use. The Ukrainian infantry coordinate where the enemy is with the tank commander, and they ask him to drive straight over the dugout. The
Oh
tank
my
drives
God.
right over the shelter multiple times. I don't think I've seen that type of violence of action, something so
Wow.
aggressive as this. The Ukrainian infantry
I mean, it makes sense. Just do us a favor. Just go over the whole thing.
are able to move in and destroy the bunker after that. Check out this
Wow.
video about new reports on how US Black Ops are operating deep behind Russian lines right now, blowing up railroads and attacking oil refineries, or this playlist of other combat rundowns that I've done.
Absolutely fantastic video, as always, by Cappy Army. I'm going to have to go to their original channels and check out where that footage come from, because you know me, I like to review these types of footage and I like to look over them. And so, yeah, maybe we should check them out as well. Again, I will leave a link down below to Cappy Army's video. Go over there, give it a subscribe. Fantastic video. Bizarre to see. And a fair play to the tactic at the end, just getting that tank in and just going over it all. It makes complete sense, doesn't it? But my God, the numbers are low for the Ukrainians. It makes me feel sorry for them. And the training's dreadful for some of these soldiers. But it's weird that we get to watch this from a distance at the moment, isn't it? Is what it is. Anyway, thank you very much for Black Forest Supplements for supporting the channel. Other than that, I'll see you in the next video. I love you all. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.